to episode 14 of the Southern Makes podcast. I am going to sound a little bit different for two reasons. The first reason is because I cannot find the part that connects into the charger port from my phone to my mic that needs that little adapter thing, and I've done something with it and I cannot find it. So that's one reason. And then the other reason is because it's March 18th, 2020 today, and everybody, I'm sure you've heard, it is a global pandemic, coronavirus, COVID-19. I am in a city outside of Nashville called Murfreesboro, Tennessee, in the United States, and wasn't able to get tested for it. However, I think that I had it this past weekend, and today is the first day that I've even felt like getting out of bed, really. Last night I was able to knit a little bit for the first time in a few days. So it's still in my throat, and I'm probably gonna have to pause a lot to cough. Not really sure what it was that we had, but yeah, so it was pretty rough, and we're all fine. We came out of it, so I think it's going to be fine, but it was rough, and I understand completely how devastating it could be if, you know, you're have an underlying condition or any of the various things it attacks and all of that. And yeah, I've been sick a lot in my life. I've had all the colds, all the flus, strep throat, ear infections, everything, and it was kind of a culmination of everything. So yeah, it was rough. I'm 27, so I'm like in that like area where I could have had it and been asymptomatic or shown symptoms, and I did show symptoms. It was flu-like, but worse, but not flu-like. I could go into detail. Anyway, that's why I sound so croaky, because it's still like in my face, but I feel fine, no fever, and I actually felt like podcasting, and I have a couple of things to talk about, so I'm really excited to show you that. And I don't know if I said, I did say this is Southern Makes, but my name is Cassie. This is a crafty podcast where I talk about knitting mostly lately, a little crochet, some cross stitch, and just anything general crafty that I get up to in my spare time. So let's just jump right into it. So first off, I will talk about what I am wearing. I'm so freaking excited about this. This is the Grace cardigan by Jane Richmond. I'll stand up just so you can see. So, comes down. It's got this lace panel here and on the back, all the way across the back. Maybe I'll put in some pictures if I'm able to take some tomorrow if I still feel good. And then buttons, so it has buttonholes, and you could easily not do the buttons, and then of course you sew on your buttons. Yeah, and really long. This is the first time I've made a garment that actually fits my hands how I wanted to fit my hands, which is so exciting and amazing. It's so cozy, so comfy. It's actually really hot because today is really warm. I think it's like in the 60s outside, but no wind chill or anything. So this is out of a drops yarn. Wow, I'm not prepared. It's either Flora. It is Flora. I say that. It's Flora. It's either Flora or Drops Alpaca, which would either be a wool alpaca blend or just alpaca. And it is a paid pattern. I love the way the pattern is laid out. It is totally worth the money. Instead of putting all instructions for everything just in one pattern, she's got where at the back where the schematics are. So she does have a schematic, which is awesome. I love that, and all kinds of just directives. and then she's got all of the measurements so you can pick your size, and then once you pick your size, it's got this big like charted graph, and you can highlight or just go through, and then throughout the pattern there are blanks, so you just plug in whatever number of stitches or inches or centimeters pertains to your size through the pattern, so that way while you're reading the pattern and knitting, you can just, there's no thinking because you've already got it all written down. So it is one, I usually don't print my patterns, but it is a pattern that I had to print because of that. And at first it was a little daunting because I'm just used to like glancing at my phone, and it just seemed like a lot. There's a lot of pages, but once you get into it, it's awesome. And you do knit it flat, which is another thing that I was concerned about because the purling and all, but actually having to purl and go back and forth and all kind of made it more fun because I do knit so many sweaters in the round, just plain stockinette, that it was kind of nice to have a change up and do something different. So it is top down, raglan right here, and then you split for the sleeves, and you just back and forth, stockinette for the body. And then you pick up and knit your sleeve, and I just did a 2x2 rib, which is my favorite. I'm not sure actually what she called for in the pattern, but this is my favorite. So I just knit up until like right here, and then I blocked it pretty aggressively, so it's kind of, I could have decreased a little bit more, but I'm happy with it because it's supposed to be pretty fitted, and I made the size that exactly kind of matches my bust, which 42.5 inches, but I wanted it, so I blocked it aggressively just to give it a little bit more positive ease. And then you pick up and you knit each button band, and around, you pick up and knit around the collar. So that's all the finishing. And for my buttons, I just picked these simple buttons, but I'm planning on knitting it again a little bit more. This is kind of like a rustic woolly wool, so I want to get a really pretty indie dyed, maybe like a gray or a white or something, like very neutral, but a fingering weight indie dyed yarn. And I have some pretty, they look like almost gothic style intricate buttons, and so I already have plans for that because while this didn't fly off the needles, it went pretty quickly. How many times can I say? It's because I keep messing with my hair. This is the first time I've done my hair since I've been sick, so since last weekend, so it's like acting up. Excuse me. But yes. Excuse me. Hopefully I can edit that out. But yeah, so this is a Grace cardigan by Jane Richmond. I love it. It is going to be a staple in my wardrobe, and I think that's it about that. I use the recommended needles, 3.75 I think, maybe, no, 3.5 millimeter. I use circulars even though it was knit flat. I use my Chiagu red lace 40-inch circulars. And yeah, and you almost need something sharp to do this lace. It's just yarn overs and yarn togethers. It's not difficult. If it looks difficult, it's really not. If that is intimidating, you do have to count and keep numbers. I got off sometimes, and you can tell if you really look, but while I was doing it, as long as in the end I could come up with my numbers, I was okay with it, because I wasn't about to rip out a whole back and forth, because you do your pattern and then you have to purl back, or knit back or whatever. So yeah, it still turned out just fine. Everything matches, and blocking works wonders. So yeah, and this is a non-superwash, so I was surprised at how much it grew, but it really did grow, and just, I don't know if you can see the fuzz, but I love the fuzziness of it. It's just really nice, but it is really warm. Whew, okay. Second finished thing that I forgot to talk about, because I forgot to bring it, didn't forget to talk about it because I did mention it, is my test knit for Okie Girl Blingin' Things, which she has so dubbed. Oops, this is inside out. I let my mom try it on because she wants one. There we go. She wants one, so I was trying to like see what size. So, and I have a end because I was thinking about adding on to the sleeves. So here it is. I might put it on, I'm not sure. I have some pictures. It's really pretty. It's crocheted out of this Lion brand Velux yarn, which is a 100% polyester, almost 250 yards for 150 grams, and they're considering this a worsted weight. It's definitely more of an Aran, even a bulky, and it's supposed to like mock velvet, and it does its job, but it is pretty warm and not super breathable. When I was wearing it trying to take pictures, I was getting a little hot, so I wanted to take it off because I'm not sure how this is gonna wash and all that, but it is so cute. And I didn't know this while I was test crocheting it for her, but it's a free pattern, so I will put her link down below if this interests you. It was super easy, and I only used 3 balls to make the large size. This is with a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook, and then I had made, this is the front, can't tell, I had made this one as well, and this was with a 5 millimeter hook, and it was a little snug on me, so same size, same everything, and there's a big difference, but I decided to redo it instead of ripping it out. I don't know if, because the color right here, I had changed yarn balls and didn't notice the color difference. So, and then when you put it on, of course, that's like front and center. It's like all you can see. So I just decided to do it again because I ended up crocheting this one, I think, in like a day and a half, and then that one in like 2.5 days. So it's easy, it's fast, it's so cute and so comfortable. Highly, highly recommend, especially if it's your first crochet project or crochet garment project, because the only difficult thing about it at all is the very first thing you have to do is a foundation single crochet, which just means if you're new to it, which I kind of am, I don't do it a lot. I wish I could stop saying I don't do it a lot. It's just so you don't have to single crochet into your first chain. You do them all at the same time. So you're doing your first chain row and your first single crochet row all in one go. So it like gives it a nicer, prettier finished edge. You can tell that it's different than if I don't have anything crocheted with me, but it makes it look more finished to start that way, and that's the hardest thing about it. Otherwise, it's just increases, and there's more, when you split for the sleeves, there's more stitches in front that way for your bust, and then you change stitch, I think you change to a half double crochet, and then you increase again to get the peplum, to get the waviness, and then you're done, and then you just do your little sleeves, which on me, my arms are really long, and I wanted to do it to pattern for her, that way I could tell her like accurately everything, but I would have done them a little bit longer just so they come like about right here, but on me they're like more like right at my elbow, kind of like in my pictures they kind of look stretched because I was pulling them down like absent-mindedly. But yeah, I highly recommend this, and I will leave her link in the description box below. Hi, I had to take a short coughing break. So the next thing I want to talk about is another test that I'm doing on Instagram. Charlie from Charlie Couture messaged me and asked me if I would like to test knit a cow for her in bulky weight yarn. And first, I have never test knit anything. That was my first test. It was crochet. And then second, I have never knit anything in bulky weight yarn because bulky is just not my thing. So I was like, yes, of course. And then she said that on her Instagram, which I will link below, that there was a picture of it, and there are cables. So I've only done one other knit cable project, and that was that cute little hat for Charlie, the hat like a wheel. and that was with fingering weight yarn, so quite a difference. So I started, I can't stop saying it, I'm really sorry. I'm trying not to let these hit. And this one has a lot of mistakes, and I've messaged her and told her I did it right before I got sick, and I guess I was already sick because I kept getting off on my stitch counts, and I'm gonna have to block this so it stays down. But there's this pretty V feature, and then the pattern repeats. So obviously I'm off one right here, and that made this off because the V is supposed to come down together. And then you have your cable on the other side, and then we're gonna seam it together to be a cowl. And I'm doing the looser fit one. It calls for size 6mm needles, and it is flat, but I have it on circulars just because I like the cord and the flexibility. And she wanted us to use Bernat Chunky. While I was at Joann's, I didn't see just straight up Bernat Chunky, so I got Softy Chunky. I hope that's okay. Seems to be okay. But this color is Gray Heather. It is a super bulky size 6. It's 100% acrylic, and in 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, you get 108 yards. So I think her loose fitting one calls for like 400-ish, or like a little over 300. So I got quite a few of these just to make sure I had enough. Yeah, and I really like it so far. She sent me an updated version, so I need to print that out. Now that I feel better, I think I will crack with that tomorrow, which is really exciting because I have been so bummed I haven't been able to work on it, especially after I realized I made that mistake, and then I got really sick. And then only just yesterday I felt like doing anything at all, and all I could do was stockinette. So yeah, I'm really excited, and hopefully I can work on that tomorrow because I want to get into it. And I don't have any cowls, so it'll be really nice to actually have a cowl to put on, even though it is getting warmer here, but who cares? You can always have a cowl, right? Right. So moving on. Oh, and I did want to mention, a lot of people talk about cable needles and, special gadgets to do cables and everything, or DPNs, which is one hack. If you don't know how to do cables or you're having a hard time, you can use a DPN instead of a cable needle behind or in front. But I really like to use just what would you call these? A flat knitting needle with the end on it. And what you do, as long as you don't have like really long, extensive cables, I mean, if you just have like, max 4 or 5 stitches, and especially with this bulky yarn or a woolly wool yarn that's really sticky, you put your stitches on, and when you knit them off, I know you have to knit this way back, but you can just hold and slide this off and slide it back in, knit, slide out, slide back in, and it sounds intense, but it's really not. And then because I find with the DPNs, my stitches will slide back and forth or slide off, and then it's really frustrating. But if I have a needle with a stop on it, I know for sure that I can carry on with my pattern and pull this up. That way the stitches are going nowhere, and then that little like pulling it out and putting it back in really doesn't bother me because my stitches are all there. I don't have to pick up anything. And when you're dropping stitches, when you're trying to do cables, it is a pain. So yeah, there's that. And I think my voice is going, but we're almost done. So the last thing, I'm sorry about the rattling, is my no frills. My last no frills that I'm ever going to no frill is this one. It's the E.R.B. 44th Street. I know y'all are tired of hearing about it. That really fluffy acrylic, acrylic polyamide blend yarn. But I am almost done. I'll show you. This is so pretty though, really. Get this on me. I love the raglan thing. It's so pretty. But I'm almost done with the body. I just want it to be long enough. And since it's acrylic, I don't feel like it'll block, like I'll get much length if I don't do it long enough for me. So I'm doing it super long. That way it's cozy. I am using the recommended 4mm needles. These are just some from Hobby Lobby probably, or Michael's. And so probably like, I don't know, 2 more inches on the body. and then I'm going to do a pretty thick band. I'm only going to go down to a 3.75 for the bottom ribbing though, because my other one is pretty tight. I went down to a 3.5 or 3.25. It's pretty tight, and even though this is at a looser gauge, so it probably would be okay if I did a 3.5, I think I'm going to do 3.75 just so it's like, I want it to be really relaxed and all. But yeah, if you've not heard of the No Frills, it's No Frills by PetiteKnit, and there's some controversy around it and all, especially now. They've released a few more sizes, so if you do want to check it out, but in my opinion, there are other patterns that are better, some that are even free. Check out Tin Can Knits, and because I'm knitting Charlie, my daughter, a flax slate from Tin Can Knits, free pattern, and it's amazing. There's so much help. It's very well written. I would say don't waste your money on the No Frills unless you are a glutton for punishment, because it took me forever to figure out the initial raglan markers and increases, and there's just not a lot of positivity and help around the whole thing. It's cute pattern. It's just so basic that go out there and look for another designer. Like, look at Andrea Mallory and Tin Can Knits. There's a ton. I talked about in my last podcast, it's very similar to this, but it's got a pretty detail along the raglan. It's the Trescao jumper. I'm going to do that one next out of the blush color of that same yarn, and it's free, so that's always exciting. This is less exciting. Okay, last thing, and then we'll talk about some of what I'm watching, reading, and then we'll wrap this thing up. Okay. My hair is just like not cooperating today, and I keep messing with it, and yeah, sorry about my nose. So, final thing is a cross stitch, which is exciting. So, I hope I can edit a lot of those out. I really hope so. This is the A House for All Seasons collection by Brookes Books Blog. This is a free cross stitch pattern. There are charts and graphs and color recommendations for all of your DMC thread or whatever brand thread you want to use. There are 4 houses, so there's summer and autumn, and I'm working on winter right now, and then spring will go here. And I'm trying to do them as the seasons come, but I'm lagging a little bit behind just because of life stuff. So summer is the only one that's like completely done, that I've filled in all of the white. Hopefully, yeah. That I filled in all of the white and all, because I'm doing the white on the background. And then this autumn house is my favorite because I'm obsessed with this color palette that I picked for the roof. So I'm not following the Brookes Books colors. I used to cross stitch and sell them, so I have a ton of thread. So I thought, what better way to use up a little creativity and also thread by just picking my own colors. And I really enjoyed it. I really love this one. It turns out the roofs are my favorite part of the houses. But yeah, I love this, and I love the leaves changing, which is kind of no surprise because I love autumn. And this crow, I think there are 2. No, there's a spider in this one. I love that. So right now I am on the winter house, and I just finished this little snowman guy with his hat. And over here, I think that's going to be a lantern. I know it looks a little phallic right now. Sorry. And I chose, they're like traditional colors, but also not. Like the roof, I don't know if it's picking up because I'm recording this at night, but that's like an olive green, and that's a really pale pink. And I didn't feel like there was enough green in this, especially because all the snow is going to be this like gray blue color. I wanted to bring in a little bit more green than just the holly and all, or whatever these bushes, vines are down here. And there's going to be a little cardinal here, and then another one up here somewhere, and then the chimneys have pretty colors, smoke coming out, and then the whole roof is just going to be snow covered by the time we're all said and done. So the only thing I'm wondering about is I've got to still fill in this one white, of course, but since this white will be snow, I'm wondering if that's going to come across right, because the other ones have white as well. But hopefully just from the imagery, just from the actual pattern, you'll be able to tell that it's snow, because I'm not sure that there's really anything I could add to the white to make it look more snowish. I don't know, but I love this. It's a long-standing whip, but I really, really love it, and I can't wait to see what it's going to look like once I wash it and iron it and frame it and all, because I will be doing that. The only thing I can't decide if I want to do is a little border around each house. I kind of like that they look like they're neighbors, though. It's cute, and I like that I started in the summer and did summer, fall, and now it's winter, and now we're getting into spring, so I kind of like, that I'll be able to look back and see that I did these in all the seasons. I think that's really cute. So my materials I'm using for this, I'm just using a normal, I don't know, I just get these, I have a million needles, and this is 14 count Ida paper, just white, and then all my thread basically is DMC, and then I have like one random pack of some other brand that I'm not sure, that I just got off of Amazon or something because it was like $5, one of those big, y'all know what I'm talking about. But yeah, don't like those colors as much as the DMC, but it was super cheap, and I did get a couple of cute colors from that, so I'm just using up my spare, honestly, and getting it done with that. So yeah, this is probably one of my most favorite whips that I just don't work on all the time. It takes a lot of energy to do these tiny little cross stitches, but yeah, so that's it. That's what I've been working on lately. I know it seems like a lot, but it doesn't feel like a lot to me. My errata is hanging back there. I haven't worked on that a lot. I just haven't had the energy or the time, I thought. So now we're moving into just general life stuff. If you're done watching, thank you so much for watching. I'm just going to talk just a few minutes about life in general. I was supposed to start back work on Monday, and Charlie started daycare last week, so I had a couple of days off just to like collect myself and get used to her not being around and all, get all my emotions out before I went back to work. But then on Friday, we got a call that she was sick, so I had to go pick her up, and she was with us all day, or with me all day Friday, and then Saturday I started to get sick, so I thought I just caught something from her. And then, what day was it? I guess it doesn't matter. We all got sick, really, really sick. And so I emailed work and told them, and then of course it came out that we're having a pandemic, so I don't know if that's good or bad timing, but I was told that I couldn't start work. I had to isolate and quarantine, and I wouldn't be able to start anyway, even if I felt better, which totally understand. Everybody's working from home and, staying to themselves, which I highly recommend, especially if I don't even realize how I got this. So it must spread so fast, so easily. I haven't been sick in like 2 years, but this took me down. So yeah, I wasn't able to start work. All I've been doing lately is watching movies. I've watched a ton of Hulu movies. I don't know if I talked about this last time, but I finally watched A Quiet Place with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. And that movie was amazing. I watched it because I saw an ad for the second one is coming out. I don't know if it's still going to come out this year with everything that's going on. Surely it's already done filming if they released, had a release date. But it was so good. It was really good. And I don't know if it's because I haven't watched a lot of movies lately, excuse me, or what, but I loved it and can't wait to see the second one. And then other than that, I've been watching just a lot of movies that come out or that pop up on Hulu. I've watched Still, Still, Clove Hitch Killer. Those both were pretty short, and I can't remember what this one was, but what was called. Silence, maybe. It was with Nicole Kidman, and she had really bad amnesia because of an accident. That one was pretty good. It was good, even though I can't remember the title, because that one was right before I got sick, I think. Yeah, and then I watched Looking for Alaska. That book by John Green came out in 2005, and I was obsessed. In 2005, I went to high school in '06, so I was in 8th grade, I guess. Yeah, I was in 8th grade when that came out, and probably when I read it, so it just made my little adolescent heart go pitter-patter, but it still does. The writing in it, I need to reread it to make sure that because it says like adapted for TV, that the writing was the same, but it pulled at my heartstrings kind of the same way that I remember, so it must be the same. They just changed a couple of things. But the show, I was like live tweeting it while I watched it. It was really cute, really good, really sad, all the emotions. I really enjoyed it a lot. And let me see, it had 8 episodes, and they were like 45-48 minutes each, so not super long, but you could do one a night or something if you don't have a lot of time. I found myself just wanting to keep watching and watching and watching it, though. I think I watched the whole thing in like 2 or 3 nights. Yeah, that was another one. I caught a little bit more of The Expanse. It's pretty good, but you need to pay attention to that, especially, I don't know if the later seasons are like this, but so much happens in each episode, so I kind of can't pay that close of attention to that show. I don't know what it is. I'm just not that invested, which is so weird because it's such an interesting premise. They're in space. It's all the planets are together, and it's awesome premise. I don't know why I can't like focus in on it, but I've been trying to turn it on and just watch it like here and there. That way I can kind of get caught up and eventually catch up. And then I am still reading. I am still 45 minutes out from finishing A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. It's bad. It's not good. But I really want to finish it so I can read her other series. But now I can't because I can't find my little piece that connects to my headphones to plug into my phone. And then I have a tablet and an Amazon Fire that I do all my reading and look at patterns and stuff on. And my charger cable broke. And I have another one somewhere. But now, and I was going to order another one, but now Amazon won't deliver. They've gone down to only essential deliveries. So yeah, I'm not complaining about that whatsoever. It's just I don't have anything to listen to this book on. So maybe I'll finish that during the day when I have some privacy or something. I just don't want to bore anybody else with this book because it's not good. I'm so disappointed after how excited I was about all of the other ones. Y'all. But yeah, so I think that's it. Every single time I get done recording, I think to myself, wow, I had other things to talk about. But here we are with me not knowing what else to talk about. So I guess I will stop boring you now and let you get back to your lives. So if you watched this far, thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all next time. Please stay safe. If you can, stay inside. Wash your hands. I know I've been touching my face like crazy. I know we're all struggling with this. My hands are freshly washed though. I know I've been touching all my projects. Anyway, try your best and just stay healthy. Use your best judgment. And yeah, I'll see y'all next time. Bye.